election should be held on a Tuesday, August 11th, rather than August 10, 2027, the date currently set by the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission. The court found that the Constitution requires the presidential election to be held in August of the fifth year following the previous general elections, leaving no discretion to the Electoral Commission to determine that date. However, the court declined to order the IEBC to immediately organise the election, citing the late filling of the petition and the fact that the government, political parties, and candidates had already made extensive preparations for an August 2027 poll. For more on this, we're now joined on the line by Kenya-based senior journalist and communications expert Tervil Okoko. Tervil, let's try this again. Good afternoon to you again. So, what's been the reaction on the ground following this court ruling?
Yeah, the reaction has been a bit mixed reaction, that's what I would say, because experts argue in different ways. Others are talking about, of course, that ruling is causing what we can call a constitutional confusion, because if that is the law in Kenya, constitution is a absolute law, whereby if the court interprets that constitution to mean that it has to be done within the fifth year, and if it goes into the next year, it means that there's going to be some sort of a constitutional crisis. Somebody else can still also go to court and say that the current regime is in power illegally. That in effect makes the current president temporary. We are more or less having a temporary president that is holding vote until what they were saying, if it has to stay until next year, they were saying that it's going to cause, if it was to be held tomorrow, according to the court ruling, the court observed that it was going to cause what is called logistical disturbance, thereby meaning that the IEBC, or rather the Electoral Commission, was not prepared to hold elections this week. And if you look at the numbers involved, that would definitely be a nightmare. But what does the law say? And in Kenya, constitution is always the supreme law. So that we are waiting to see what will happen actually next year. Now that because some are saying that that will now put the current president, in power illegally, and that would also even mean treason, because if you subvert the constitution, that's what the Kenyan law says. If you subvert the constitution, then it is treasonable, and somebody can take you to court and you be tried for that. So actually, this is going to be very interesting. But of course, the judge said that, okay, fine, they will wait, and even if it does the lapse, there will be an illegality until 2027. Then they will start applying that ruling from the 10th of August 27 onwards. What would that mean to, again, probably, it would mean that it is going to give the current president extra time, more than 5 years, as is indicated by the constitution. So those are the kind of interesting readings that are coming from various experts. There are also those ones who are also talking about, reading politics into it, saying that, okay, you want to now shorten the lifespan of the current president. But I think if you go by that interpretation, and they did the matrix, the calculation, and they ended up that the fifth year ends on the 10th, actually, of August.
I mean, so many questions raised on this, including, of course, if that election were to go on. The questions about fair and fairness comes to mind. Give us a sense then in terms of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Did they issue out a statement following this ruling? I mean, what did they have to say? Essentially, the court saying, that the IEBC must. It declined, in fact, to order the IEBC to immediately organize the election. Of course, citing, as you've been saying, the late filling of the petition and the fact that the government, political parties, and other candidates had already made extensive preparations for an August 2027 poll. I mean, did they have anything to say following this ruling?
No, the IBC could not comment because, of course, this is a constitutional matter. And once the judges have given their opinion on the issue, and of course, this is not just an opinion but a ruling, then they would only probably have the only recourse remaining for them probably would have been an appeal. And I think also that is also the ruling. The judge also gave a window, gave an opening for a rule for any eventuality or any party to appeal that ruling. So that was provided by the judge, that any party that feels aggrieved by that ruling can proceed and find an appeal within the reasonable time. Of course, the time allowed is within 14 days. An appeal notice should be lodged with the court. And going by that experience or by that ruling, definitely the IEBC was not going to be prepared to hold any election at this time, because if you look at the kind of preparation and the kind of logistics required, we have the position of one president, the position of 47 governors, 47 senators. We have the position of over 350 members of parliament and over 3,500 members of the county assemblies to handle. And each of these positions definitely would attract not less than 2 persons. So you would look at this as a serious logistical nightmare. Were the court to be rigid and say that this has to go on despite the logistical nightmare. So I think in one way or another, there would have been what we would call the wise counsel, or rather the wise ruling. And on the other, there is the danger of the constitutional disturbance, whereby, and I am keen to learn, probably going forward, how this is going to be cured in case an individual, a person, or a party decides to go to further interpretation, probably to the Supreme Court, armed with this kind of ruling, to see how best do we cure the 5-year problem. Because they are counting that if they count from 2022, when the last election was held, the 5th year falls on the 10th of August 2026. So it means if it goes to the 10th of 2027, it gives the current president, or rather the current life of elected leaders, an illegal term of 1 year more. And that is not provided for in the Constitution. The Constitution is very clear that they should only serve for 5 years. And that is the contention, the point of departure that experts are arguing on. Each party presenting their cases. Of course, a lot of them are in agreement that this is going to cause some sort of discomfort, constitutional discomfort, or legal challenges within the Kenyan electoral system, whereby the claim is they're going to serve 1 year that is illegal as per the Constitution.
Absolutely, I can imagine. Also, a lot of confusion on the ground too with ordinary Kenyans. But thank you so much for your time, Tervil. Unfortunately, that's all we have for you today. Kenya-based senior journalist and communications expert Tervil Okoko there responding to that Kenya High Court ruling that the next presidential election should be held tomorrow, August 11, 2026, and not August 10, 2027. So we'll have to wait and see for further reaction to that. Well, this is the time that we say our goodbyes. It's 2 minutes before the hour 1 o'clock. And of course, we keep it moving here on Channel Africa. We have more news and, of course, a lot of programming for you in store. So do keep it locked right on the Channel Africa dial. Of course, you can stay connected to Africa and the world with Channel Africa, the international voice of the South African Broadcasting Corporation. Watch or listen anytime, anywhere at channelafrica.co.za, on the Channel Africa mobile app, and on SABC Plus, or via the DSTV and OpenView audio bouquets. Thank you so much to my producers, Mabu and Dipalisa and Talita too. And of course, I am Unati standing in for Lulu Kabu. Until next time.
Channel Africa is evolving, and so are you. Stay connected wherever you are with our brand new website.